This is the Imperial Dragon Oracle deck by Andy Baggott and Peter Pracownik, published by US Game Systems. I've had these cards for quite a while, and there are 22 cards as well as a description booklet. There are reversed meanings as well. I'll start by showing you the cards. It is based on the Major Arcana as an Oracle deck, and the overall vibe of the cards is the same as the traditional Major Arcana, but they do take on a slightly different interpretation, which I will show you later. So starting with number 0, the Seeker, which relates to the Fool. They have the traditional mountain scenery of the Fool, and they've also included the symbol for the planet Uranus that the Fool relates to. Number 1, the Magus relates to the Magician. They have the Cups, Pentacles, Wands, and Swords present. There is the symbol for Mercury as well. Number 2, Wisdom, relates to the High Priestess. There is the symbol for the Moon, and I love how they've really captured the powerful and almost scary aspect of dragons with the artwork. 3, Fertility, the Empress. This is the only card in the deck with a person on it. There is also the symbol for Venus. Number 4, Power, for the Emperor. The dragon is holding a scepter and a globe, just like the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. This card gives off the energy of the Emperor really well. There is the symbol for Mars and Aries. And just like the Rider-Waite-Smith decks, this deck uses color and weather to convey meaning, such as day versus night, a calm sky versus lightning, yellow-orange, and red to represent personal power and confidence, for example. 5, Mercy, for the Hierophant card. Here we see the dragon is holding a staff, and there are pillars in the background, alluding to the image of the Hierophants. There is the symbol for Venus and Taurus. 6, Love, which represents the lovers. Here, there is a symbol for Mercury and Gemini. Here they use colors to allude to masculine and feminine energies. Number 7, Adversity, for the Chariot card. This is the one card where the scene looks like it is set during the daytime. There is the Moon and Cancer symbol. This card is an example where the author has given a different interpretation from the standard meaning we normally associate with the Chariots. 8, the Imperial Dragon, which represents strength. There is the symbol for the Sun and Leo. I like how the dragon is perched on top of the mountain, like he overcame all his obstacles. There is also a snowball in his hand, and maybe it could symbolize being ready to fight, if necessary. 9, Solitaire, for the Hermit card. There is the symbol for Mercury and Virgo. There is the traditional lantern and staff we expect for the Hermit card. And the dragon is a grayish-brown color. This dragon doesn't want to be noticed. It wants to be left in peace. 10, Destiny, which represents the Wheel of Fortune. There is the symbol for Jupiter, and the sky is completely dark, perhaps referencing the unknown future, and there is also a pentacle. Here the dragon is green, and green often symbolizes abundance and good luck, especially if you think about the jade gemstone, for example. 11, Balance, which represents justice. There is the symbol for Venus and Libra. This is such a beautiful image. 12, the Wounded Dragon, which represents the Hanged Man card. There is the symbol for Neptune. There are shields and a sword, suggesting that a battle took place. 13, Rebirth, which represents the Death card. There is the symbol for Pluto and Scorpio. This deck focuses on the positive aspect of the Death card. When there is an ending, there is also a beginning. 14. Temperance. There is the symbol for Jupiter and Sagittarius. 15. Mischief, which represents the Devil card. There is the symbol for Saturn and Capricorn. This card also highlights the light side of the Devil card, and I will elaborate on this later on. 16. The Destroyer. For the Tower card, there is a symbol for Mars. We have the classic tower imagery here. 17. The Firmament, which represents the star. There is a symbol for Uranus and Aquarius. 18. The Lunar Dragon, which represents the Moon card. There is the symbol for Neptune and Pisces. 19. The Solar Dragon, for the Sun. There is the symbol for the sun here, and they have also used a lot of Egyptian imagery. If you look at the dragon, he's holding a crook and flail, like the Egyptian god Osiris is often depicted. Osiris is known as the god of the underworld, resurrection, agriculture, among other things. There's also a sphere on the dragon's head, which reminds me of the way that the Egyptian god Ra is depicted, and Ra is known as the god of the sun. In the description booklet for these cards, the keyword they use for this card is rebirth into the light. So I think this imagery depicts this in a very clever way. 20. The Aeon, for the Judgment card. There is the symbol for Pluto, and this is such a beautiful card. When we think of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck for the Judgment card, we see people rising from their coffins. So it's almost like a phoenix rising from the ashes. And this dragon being an orange color reminds me of that phoenix energy. Something to notice is that here they've used the Aeon instead of the Judgment. So it's almost more like the Thoth deck. And in this deck, they also use the word Magus instead of Magician, like the Thoth deck. In the description booklet, they use the words the fusion of wisdom and understanding to describe this card. So it's more so an energy of discernment from past experience. So we've been through all these things, and now we're able to be wiser and make better decisions in the future from past experience. And finally, 21, Gaia, which represents the world. There is a symbol for Saturn. This is a stunning depiction of the world. Certain cultures viewing dragons as protectors of the earth. So I think that works really well with this imagery. So overall, I personally love the artwork, and dragons are my favorite, so I absolutely had to get this deck, and I think the artist did a superb job. Then on the back of the cards, we have these beautiful mirrored dragons. Now if I go through the description booklets, in the beginning there is an introduction to the deck and explanations of dragon mythology across different cultures. There are some guidelines for caring and preparing for the cards, and there are also different spreads and example readings. Here are the card descriptions with reversed meanings. At the back we have some information about the author and artist. So now I want to speak about the cards that have, well, a few of the cards that have a different take on the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith meanings. So if we look at the Adversity card, which represents the Chariot, they speak more here about overcoming challenges and taking action. So they want you to be inspired to rise above those challenges and really take action to confront them and actually change them. So I think that's definitely a different take. Then if we look at the Mercy card, which is the Hierophant, They speak about being true to yourself, but they also speak about being compassionate and, merciful on yourself. Not being too hard on yourself all the time. And I think that's a lesson that all of us, need to know. So I think that this card could be very useful in a reading when someone is being way too hard on themselves. And then I'd like to talk about the Mischief card, which represents the Devil card. And each card in the tarot can have sort of a positive and a negative side, or a light side and a dark side. And often when we think of the devil, we think about the sort of darker sides, like maybe addiction, manipulation, abuse, victim mentality, illusion. But there can also be a light side. So here in the book, they speak about not being so stuck to your programmed ideas of what is right and wrong, and actually being discerning. Not just following the status quo. And they also speak about not taking life so seriously and learning to play. The actual cards are quite thin, and since they're wider, you notice them more. And thinner cards are easier to shuffle though. I've had these cards for a while, and I do struggle to fit the booklet and the cards inside. Here you can see that I damaged the booklet a bit. So I would maybe keep the booklet separately or not close the box fully. But overall, I personally love the deck, and the artwork is really riveting. And I also think the guidebook descriptions relate to modern life and are helpful when doing readings. That's all for this, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye!